I believe a marriage can be mundane, but it must never involve betrayal. And betrayal always starts with engaging in inappropriate online behavior. When I found out my husband, Marcus, was sending virtual gifts and engaging in inappropriate online behavior on StreamSphere, I knew I had to end this marriage myself. Your husband is cheating. I scoffed at the text message that had suddenly appeared on my phone, then deleted it casually before stepping out of the elevator. I was home a bit late from the firm today. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Marcus was already home. He was on the couch, head bowed, staring at his phone. He didn't even glance up when I walked in. I was used to it. Carrying the groceries, I turned and went into the kitchen to start dinner. We'd been married for 3 years and still had no children. After work, we each spent more and more time on our phones. More often than not, I felt like we were just roommates, or perhaps I was just his housekeeper. But who was there to blame? Who told me to ignore my family's objections, to throw myself at him like a moth to a flame? It was my choice, so I never complained, willingly doing everything. At the dinner table, Marcus devoured 3 ribs in one go. I glanced at him silently, then picked up some greens with my chopsticks and put them in my bowl. Marcus, could you handle this month's mortgage payment? The firm needs to collect training fees soon. Marcus paused his chopsticks, finally looking up at me. He had a natural charm, just his eyes were enough to make anyone's heart race. But now, I felt a calm detachment. Why didn't you say something sooner? I'm a bit short on cash lately. I froze. His salary wasn't low, and I usually covered our daily expenses. How could he be short on cash? What did you spend your money on? Marcus frowned, clearly not wanting to discuss it. He picked up his chopsticks again and said impatiently, "All right, I get it." My appetite vanished instantly, and a wave of unspoken resentment washed over me. I made $8,000 a month, and $4,000 went to the mortgage payment, simply because this house was part of the down payment my family helped with. Marcus, following Eleanor's advice, contributed nothing. I had become the breadwinner, the one carrying the heaviest burden. The atmosphere at the dinner table was heavy and dull. I remembered the earlier text message, and to lighten the mood, I feigned confusion and said, "I received a text saying you were cheating?" At this, Marcus set his bowl down on the table, his gaze a mix of mockery and disdain. "You're a junior manager, and you believe scam messages like that? You didn't click any links, did you?" Strangely, my wavering heart settled then. Marcus didn't seem to be faking it. As long as he was faithful, everything could be forgiven. "Of course not, I definitely trust you." I served him another rib, a smile appearing on my face, looking innocent and easily misled. How utterly foolish I felt. Dinner ended abruptly. Afterwards, I was still the one responsible for tidying up. By the time I finished, Marcus had already showered and was lying in bed. I knew exactly what he was implying, but at that moment, roll call had already started in my company team's WhatsApp group. I could only apologize with a quick kiss on his lips before rushing to the study. This month, the firm was busy with performance reviews, so I often had to use my personal time. Over time, our married life had suffered. I felt somewhat guilty and planned to make it up to him once this period was over. At 11 that night, I quietly returned to the bedroom. Marcus was already asleep, his phone tossed aside, still playing a loop of a dance video from the app, vulgar and suggestive. I paused, surprised. I'd never known he watched such things. A mix of unknown dread and curiosity prompted me to quietly pick up his phone and open the app's homepage. The account owner was named Mia's Darling. She had thousands of followers. As I scrolled, the screen filled with provocative videos. I randomly clicked one, and the comments below were sickening. These men, like rutting beasts, kept clamoring and fawning, which disgusted me. I glanced at the sleeping Marcus, remembering him when we first met. He was gentle and clean-cut, a popular figure at school. I had fallen hopelessly in love with him, willing to be the submissive one in our marriage. And now? I quickly analyzed Marcus's intentions, constantly searching for reasons and excuses for him. Our intimacy had been scarce lately. Was he watching these because he was unsatisfied? Just then, a red dot appeared in the bottom right corner of the app. I immediately tapped it. It was Mia's fan group, and someone was tagging Marcus. "Mia, Mark, Are you coming to my live stream tomorrow night? At Mark, a shockwave hit me. All the blood rushed to my head. I suddenly found it difficult to breathe, quickly took a deep breath, forced myself to calm down, and then rapidly scrolled up through the group's content. Marcus, under the alias Mark, was very active in the group. Looking at the timestamps, some messages were from weekday mornings, others after work. From the flattering tone of others, it was clear that Mark was a wealthy man. He sent virtual gifts of large sums during every livestream and had already claimed the top of the leaderboard. I began to tremble uncontrollably. While I was busy with work during the day, he was chatting in the group. When I was busy with housework after work, he was comfortably lying on the couch watching Mia's livestream. I scrimped and saved every day, yet he was giving money to a vulgar woman online. The rage in my chest swelled, burning through me, making my limbs numb. I turned to look at the sleeping Marcus, tears welling in my eyes. Just as I raised my phone, ready to smash it down on him, Marcus suddenly stirred. He groggily locked his phone, rolled over, and continued sleeping, completely oblivious. I, meanwhile, was turned away from him, my face streaming with tears. I clapped a hand over my mouth, stifling any sound. Yes, I backed down. Marcus was just playing the big shot online, just sending virtual gifts. The next day at the firm, my colleagues noticed something was off about me. Grace, didn't you sleep well last night? Is it because of today's presentation? I nodded awkwardly, forcing a bitter smile. I hadn't slept a wink last night, and the torment was something I couldn't confide in anyone. I had to process it alone. Hey, did you hear? A new handsome guy is starting in our department today. Hearing this, my colleagues in the office immediately started gossiping, but I wasn't in the mood. Marcus had just sent a message on WhatsApp. He said Eleanor was coming over tonight and asked me to buy more groceries. I still hadn't replied. Thinking about the things he'd done behind my back, the emotions I'd barely suppressed began to surge again. I clenched my fists involuntarily, feeling resistance, a desire to escape, not even wanting to face him and his mother. I was always indecisive like this. These thoughts rose and fell in my mind, constantly troubling me, until the laughter and chatter in the office abruptly ceased. The moment everyone turned, I also saw the so-called handsome new guy in the crowd. He wore a white polo shirt and black casual pants, which highlighted his fair skin, making him look clean and fresh. With his sharp, deep-set features, he was indeed easy on the eyes. No wonder the female staff were gathered to gossip. Grace, come meet the new colleague. Our eyes met. I offered a faint smile, a casual greeting, but he was very polite. Hello, Team Grace. I'm Ethan. Please guide me in the future. He pointed to the seat behind me. It seemed he had already done his research. I nodded. I'm still somewhat new here myself, so guidance is out of the question. We'll be more like collaborators, I think. Ethan's smile was slight, polite yet distant. Though his attire was simple, the fabric was clearly high quality, and the watch on his wrist was worth several years of my salary. I could tell Ethan came from a privileged background. He was probably just here temporarily, in transition. These speculative thoughts flashed through my mind and quickly vanished. I certainly didn't have the luxury of bothering with anything else now. By the time I got home after work, Eleanor had already arrived. Eleanor. I softly called her name, my gaze falling on the table. Seeing that dinner was already prepared, the resentment in my chest eased considerably. I put down my bag and changed my shoes. Eleanor immediately took my hand, saying warmly, Grace, wash your hands quickly and come eat. After she spoke, Marcus emerged from the kitchen carrying a dish. It was unusual, he rarely lifted a finger, yet today he looked like a devoted family man. I shot him a glance without speaking, washed my hands, and went straight to the table. Overtime again today? As if sensing my mood was off, Marcus proactively served me some food, asking with concern. MHM. I responded indifferently. Marcus frowned, as if his newly built patience instantly crumbled because of my coolness. What's wrong? What's wrong with me? Mark, you should know perfectly well. I looked up at his displeased expression, mocking him internally, fantasizing about his surprise and alarm if he heard that name. But in reality, I calmly explained, I had a lot of work today, so I'm a bit tired. I didn't know what I was holding on to. Any other woman would have confronted him and broken up by now. Too many concerns, too few options. I truly didn't dare take that step. In other words, he was only emotionally cheating. For now, our family could still eat peacefully at the dinner table. I didn't want to break that picture. The atmosphere was somewhat stagnant. Eleanor immediately reacted, nudging her son to signal him to be nicer, then began placing food in my bowl. If you're tired, eat more to replenish yourself. Grace, you've lost a lot of weight recently, don't be like those girls constantly talking about dieting. Okay, Eleanor. There are indeed many fit girls online nowadays, I wonder how they maintain their figures. I smiled, casting a sidelong glance at Marcus, and a malicious thought involuntarily sparked within me. Marcus, what do you think? How would I know? I never watch that stuff. Marcus froze slightly, as if something had occurred to him, his expression becoming unnatural. He then stiffly argued his case. Eleanor didn't notice anything unusual about her son and continued proudly saying, Grace, you know how excellent Marcus is. You can rest assured. Yes, your son is indeed excellent, otherwise, I wouldn't have married him so willingly. But that was the old him, not this Mark who has no wife in his heart. Thinking of Marcus's ambiguous chat logs with Mia, the hatred in my heart was gradually replaced by an impulse, yet I suppressed it, trying to maintain a normal demeanor. After dinner, I didn't rush to wash the dishes. Instead, I sat on the couch with Marcus. Marcus looked at me several times, on the verge of speaking, as if waiting for me to ask. But today, I acted blind, ignoring his apprehension. Finally, he couldn't hold back. Grace, there's something I want to discuss with you. I pressed the remote, my expression unchanged, and said, Go on. Marcus hesitated, then asked, That money you have, it'll be available next month, right? My heart sank. I turned and looked directly into his eyes, already understanding what he was planning. For what? Well, Chloe successfully passed her interview, and the firm is a bit far from home. Eleanor and Marcus's father want to buy her a car, but they're a bit short on cash. You see, that money of yours is just sitting there, so why not take it out first for Chloe? Marcus! I sharply cut off his self-serving calculations. My rationality finally shattered. Did you ever think about me when you made this decision? After all these years of working, when have I not commuted by subway? I've never complained about being tired. Did you ever care how long my commute was? I rarely spoke so aggressively, rarely voiced my displeasure. So opened his mouth but couldn't find a single word to retort. Seeing him like that, my anger was fully ignited. Chloe is your sister, but what about me? Am I your housekeeper or your plaything? Marcus's face flushed crimson. He rose, about to raise his hand. I looked at his movement, my heart turning to ash, finally understanding my true status in his eyes. If isn't willing, Eleanor and Marcus's father will figure something else out. Eleanor suddenly rushed out of the kitchen, stopping Marcus. It looked like she had been secretly watching for a while. Eleanor's actions brought Marcus back to his senses. He saw the disappointment and coldness in my eyes and then frantically embraced me. Grace, I was wrong. It was my fault, please don't be angry. The embrace didn't retrieve my disappointment in him. His apology was so fake it sickened me. Seeing my cold expression, Eleanor actually felt heartbroken for her son. Grace, don't blame Marcus. Listen to what you just said, was it appropriate? Hasn't Marcus been good to you? Before I could retort, she added, It's more convenient to ask family than outsiders for money, especially when it's for Chloe's car. Well, since you're unwilling, we won't force you. Grace, don't overthink it. Listen to that. What kind of talk was that? I suspected they, mother and son, had premeditated this, just waiting for my money to buy a car for their family. I stiffened my back, letting Eleanor twist the truth and turn everything into my fault. Marcus now resumed his normal demeanor. He held me tightly in a comforting embrace, then said displeasedly to Eleanor, Eleanor, that's enough. You should go home. We'll find another way for Chloe's car. Listening to the closing door as Eleanor left, my back finally relaxed. Marcus was still murmuring regrets in my ear, but I closed my eyes, a desolate feeling settling in my heart. In his eyes, I was merely their family's housekeeper, a tool for managing the household, even an ATM. I would never become the wife, the family member I hoped to be. This marriage couldn't possibly continue. I suddenly widened my eyes, the thought in my mind growing wildly. I wanted revenge. I wanted Marcus to experience the taste of being deceived. I had a plan, one that would ruin his reputation and leave him with nothing. Waking up that morning, I didn't prepare breakfast as usual. Marcus, being perceptive, bought donuts and coffee. I glanced at them and walked straight to the door. "Grace, aren't you eating breakfast?" He sat at the table, watching me put on my shoes. Catching the subway. Marcus froze, as if remembering something, his expression becoming subtle and awkward. By the time he tried to speak again, I had already closed the door and left. Once I saw through the true nature of our relationship, the details of our past life became increasingly clear, his neglect and indifference, his diminishing tenderness and love. I hadn't noticed any of it, like a fool blindly rushing forward, ending up bruised and battered for him. How foolish. Fortunately, I was no longer deluded. At noon, everyone in the office was discussing Saturday's training, which required staying 2 nights in a neighboring city. This worked perfectly for my plan. It wasn't until I started packing my suitcase after work on Friday that Marcus noticed something unusual. "Grace, what are you doing?" He saw me putting all my intimates into the suitcase, and finally, his expression grew tense. "Where are you going?" I didn't want to answer him, but then I remembered my plan and patiently explained. "The firm has a training session. I'll be away for a few days, the return date is flexible." Marcus let out a sigh of relief, then curled his lips into a smug smile. I knew what he was thinking. After all these years of being submissive, he must have thought I couldn't live without him, foolishly confident. Now, looking at his handsome face, all I felt was revulsion and disgust. Boarding the company shuttle, I found the last window seat and then began the first step of my plan. I downloaded StreamSphere, the same video app Marcus used, and, mimicking Mia's darling, created a nickname, AJ_Rebellious. Even before downloading the app, I had a general understanding of how it worked. Account owners could attract traffic by filming videos, and once their follower count reached a certain level, they could activate live streaming. Then, through live streams, they could attract fans to send virtual gifts and earn a percentage of the gift revenue. Of course, videos could be about cooking, sharing professional knowledge, or filming cute daily pet routines, but many, like Mia, also earned quick money through suggestive content. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but think of Marcus again. It turns out you really can't judge men by their appearance. No matter how aloof or noble you seem, deep down, you can't escape the control of desire and curiosity about the opposite sex. Therefore, he had to pay the price for his deception and disloyalty. I quickly scanned my surroundings. Seeing my colleagues focused on their phones, I swiftly unbuttoned my collar, took a selfie of my collarbone, and then used it as my profile picture. The woman in the photo's face was hidden, showing only a sharp chin and a subtle glimpse of a collarbone. Incredibly seductive. This was just the first step. Since I didn't have time to grow my followers by filming videos, I chose the quickest method, buying followers and traffic. This meant that once purchased, the system would automatically recommend me to nearby users and boost my views. To be honest, the price wasn't cheap, but thinking of the benefits it would bring, I didn't care. After payment, the effect was immediate and significant. Red dots appeared on the page, and over a dozen followers had already subscribed to me. Seeing this, I couldn't help but feel a surge of joy. I curved my lips into a smile and looked up, only to see Ethan in front and to my left suddenly turn his head. I froze, thinking he'd discovered something, but he merely glanced and then turned back. I didn't dwell on it. The training was held at an exclusive resort, with each person getting their own room. Since it was funded by higher-ups, the location chosen was naturally excellent. For these 2 days, apart from training hours, I was in my room, finding angles to film videos. I had studied dance for a period in my youth, so my ability to grasp and quickly memorize dance moves was quite good. I specifically brought clothes I rarely wore. During filming, I also chose stickers to obscure my face, and then a series of alluring and captivating videos were uploaded to the AJ_Rebellious account. To my surprise, the response was incredible. In just 1 day, My follower count had reached over 1,000. Countless men were complimenting and probing in the comments below each video, and my inbox was overflowing with private messages. Their content repulsive. Mia must really enjoy being fawned over by so many men, right? But I only felt disgust. My eyes bloodshot, I looked at each comment, imagining what kind of men were behind these profile pictures, boyfriends, husbands, or perhaps someone's father. Ha, I scoffed, uploading a new video. My first step was complete. Now, all I had to do was wait for the fish to bite. After the group meal that noon, everyone was sitting in the lounge eating fruit. I was organizing the content from the recent meeting, while some colleagues were scrolling through videos on their phones. It was then I realized this app was already popular among people. Ethan, you're on this too? Let's follow each other. A male colleague from my team suddenly spoke up, and everyone chimed in, yeah, come on, everyone, let's follow each other. We're all from the same department. If we film some office life, who knows? It might go viral. Plus, Ethan is so handsome, he's our secret to getting traffic. Ethan smiled, not refusing. Everyone took out their phones and scanned QR codes to add each other. Only I didn't move, because I only had one account, and if my colleagues discovered it, I'd be finished. So when Ethan asked me for my account, I calmly said, sorry, I don't use this app. Ethan's eyes were dark and deep. Under his gaze, it felt as if no secret could hide. Just as I was about to lose my composure, he suddenly smiled, Team Grace, if you're interested, you can download it too, and we can follow each other later. I nodded vaguely, grabbed my documents, and hurried back to my room. I couldn't shake the feeling that Ethan's gaze was a bit off, but I hoped I was just overthinking it. On the way back to the city that afternoon, Marcus unusually sent a message on WhatsApp asking when I would be home. I knew what he was planning. To better execute my scheme, I told him I'd be another week. He feigned reluctance, saying he missed me and told me to come home soon. I sneered, then simply deleted the chat. Out of sight, out of mind. Heh. So, never casually provoke a woman. When she's disappointed in you, every word you say becomes a deadly fuse. In fact, I had booked a suite near the firm for a week. Every day, I consistently uploaded various popular dance videos. For this, I even bought some revealing tops. Effort pays off. In just 3 days, my live streaming feature was activated. And then, I was ready to proceed with my next step. That's right, to lure Marcus and make him my top supporter. After work today, I timed it perfectly to when he would be watching live streams and opened AJ's live stream room. To draw him in, I paid for local traffic again. In an instant, countless people flooded my live stream room. Today, I wore an apricot off-the-shoulder crop top and slim-fit jeans. In the camera, wearing a fox mask, my slender waist, beautiful legs, and bare shoulders instantly captivated those men. I greeted everyone in a sweet, high-pitched voice. Immediately, comments appeared praising my sweet voice. I smiled and checked the viewer list. Sure enough, Mark was there. But it seemed he had just entered randomly after being recommended by the system. He hadn't followed me yet, or perhaps he was observing, seeing if I was worth his attention. I knew he liked women like Mia who filmed suggestive videos, but there were countless such video creators on the platform. What I had to do was become the most unique one among them, the one Mark couldn't forget. Gentlemen, how about we play a game? I flashed a sweet smile at the camera, my cherry-red lips especially alluring. I can guess your preferences and personality with just one sentence. Want to try it? The screen immediately erupted, with everyone sending virtual gifts and asking to connect with me. I looked at Mark, who was trying to act cool in the live stream room, and deliberately selected the account above his. The name was quite cute, Ace. Once the video connected, Ace's camera was black. Immediately, comments flooded the screen, mocking him as an ugly guy afraid to show his face. Hello, Ace. To my surprise, his voice was unexpectedly pleasant, deep and mellow, yet clear. Even without seeing his face, his refined tone suggested Ace must have an outstanding appearance. I'm Ace, not a rabbit. I paused, a little amused, realizing law was a verb. Naturally, I laughed and said, I think I already know. Hearing me say that, he seemed to grow a little interested. Oh? You can tell my preferences just from that? Ace's camera then showed a picture, though only half of it. I could see his sharply defined jawline and a sexy Adam's apple. Also, his skin was very fair, and he didn't look very old. I swept my long hair behind me, exposing my soft, pale collarbone to the camera. This angle was truly the most visually striking. You have money and good looks. Because of this, your interest in everything remains constant, neither growing nor diminishing. However, once something genuinely captures your interest, you'll stop at nothing to get it. After saying this, I made a shooting gesture at the camera. This shot, I wondered, would it hit Mark's heart? I knew that with his discerning nature. He only watched Mia because she satisfied his vanity of playing the role of a wealthy man. The thrill of being adored and fawned over by a beautiful woman must have been exciting, but deep down, he still looked down on those women. He preferred clever and unique ones. Once, I had attracted his gaze in the same way. Little did I know that the mundane realities of marriage would turn me into a boring married woman. Now, free from the shackles of marriage, I was rediscovering myself. Marcus, this time, would you still be interested in me? Just as I was lost in thought, Ace's laughter came from the other side of the screen. You're right. So, AJ, prepare for my strike. As he spoke, 10 virtual gift effects, named Supreme, exploded consecutively on the screen. Each was worth 50,000 renminbi. Everyone in the live stream room, myself included, was stunned. I had guessed he was wealthy because the label peeking from his collar was an international brand, understated but not affordable for ordinary people. I never imagined he was so rich that he'd casually send virtual gifts worth 500,000. Everyone present fell silent. You see, the virtual gifts are split between the platform and the account owner. That meant I had just instantly received 250,000. That was nearly 3 years of my salary. Seconds later, the screen erupted. Everyone started calling Ace a big shot, their initial contempt instantly turning into flattery. The number of viewers in the live stream room also steadily climbed. My attention, however, was on Mark because he had left the live stream. I felt a surge of annoyance, thinking Ace had ruined everything. These 10 virtual gifts instantly made Ace the top supporter, and that amount was virtually insurmountable. Mark didn't have that kind of money, so he definitely wouldn't put any effort into me now. Suppressing my anger, I ended the live stream. Then, I quickly searched for Mark's account and found he was still online. I glanced at the time, immediately registered a burner account, and entered Mia's live stream room. Sure enough, Mark was firmly seated in the top supporter spot. Mia, in a revealing short skirt, was posing provocatively, occasionally cooing, "Mark, send me some virtual gifts, won't you?" I sneered, then dialed Marcus's number. "Grace?" He answered quickly. "What are you doing?" I asked subtly. "I still have some documents from the firm that need processing. I'm working overtime at home." "What's up? Do you miss me?" Marcus softened his tone. If I hadn't known he was in a live stream, I really would have been fooled by his earnest demeanor. You're not doing anything bad behind my back, are you? What are you thinking? Am I that kind of person? Good. I'll be home in a few days. Just wait for me." He didn't detect anything unusual. After hanging up, he started sending virtual gifts to Mia. Watching the dazzling gift effects and Mia's seductive movements, my last shred of mercy for him transformed into an arrow of revenge. I started screen recording, capturing everything unfolding before me, because this would become one of the pieces of evidence to ensure he left with nothing. The next day at the firm, I worked diligently as usual. No one noticed I was privately messaging Mark on the app. AJ_Abelius, hello. Nearby handsome stranger Marcus's job was respectable and relatively easy, so he had plenty of time to chat with me. I also took the opportunity to use the app's nearby users feature to get closer to him. Mark, hello. AJ_Abelius, Mark. I just realized we're in the same city. Want to meet up sometime? Photo. At the same time, I sent a selfie of myself. The background was a hotel balcony. I was wearing a conservative yet alluring slim-fit dress, angled specifically so my face wasn't visible, but the overall look was very pure yet sexy. Sure enough, Mark was drawn in by my photo, and the conversation picked up. Mark, you have a nice figure. AJ_Abelius, so. Am I the best figure you've ever seen? Blushing emoji, Mark, pretty close. I remembered his chat history in Mia's group and quickly deduced he was trying to act mysterious, as young girls often liked that vibe. It also confirmed he was starting to take an interest in me. AJ_Rebellious, Mark, you still haven't answered me. Are you afraid your girlfriend would get mad? This time, he didn't reply quickly. Just then, someone walked into the office, so I put away my phone. A cup of coffee was placed on my desk. I looked up, meeting Ethan's deep, calm eyes. He curved his lips and said, "Grace, this coffee is for you." I paused, a little confused. Then I looked around and saw everyone had a cup on their desk. I realized and smiled, thanks. With that casual glance, I noticed his jacket, a black work shirt. The logo on the pocket was strikingly familiar, identical to Ace's. I involuntarily looked at his Adam's apple and jawline. They were also very similar. A terrifying thought immediately popped into my head: he couldn't be Ace. Could he? This thought sent a chill down my spine. Yet, because of my prolonged gaze, he leaned in a bit closer and asked, "Grace, is everything okay?" I snapped back to reality, secretly laughing at my own paranoia. Who was Ethan? How could he do something as vulgar as sending virtual gifts to streamers? Besides, if he were Ace, why wouldn't he reveal himself? Playing role-playing games with me was too absurd. So, it was all just my imagination. It must have been my impure intentions making me feel a bit guilty. Nothing. Thank you for the coffee. I feigned needing to use the restroom, hurried past him, and only truly relaxed once I entered the break room. At that moment, Mark also replied to my message. Mark, no, you're overthinking it. I'm single. I bit my lower lip subconsciously, looking at the word single. But in my eyes, there was no longer sadness or disappointment, only the satisfaction of a plan succeeding. AJ_Rebellious, really? That's great, Mark, so happy? AJ_Rebellious, because you're exactly my type. Mark, if I recall correctly, someone sent you virtual gifts worth $500,000 last night. I can't imagine what you'd like about me. Seeing his message, I immediately detected the sourness in his tone. From all my years of knowing him, I knew what he wanted to hear. AJ_Rebellious, my family has plenty of money, $500,000 is nothing to me. I love your name and that captivating aura of a mature man in your words, plus your profile picture silhouette is really handsome. I think it was love at first sight for me. I quickly created a persona on the keyboard, a wealthy girl playing around, exactly the type to attract someone like Marcus, who is dissatisfied with his current situation. His typing speed was noticeably much faster this time. I knew he had taken the bait. Mark, you're quite the talker, haha. Don't be impulsive. I'll be in your live stream room tonight. I screenshotted and saved the chat logs, placing them all into a folder named Marcus is Cheating, just waiting for enough proof to strike. When I left the firm, I unexpectedly received a text message. I opened it and instantly widened my eyes. It was an account withdrawal record, clearly stating that the $600,000 I had deposited had just been withdrawn. How was that possible? Had my account been hacked? I was instantly terrified, my face pale, my limbs weak. Just then, a pair of hands steadied me as I swayed, and I heard Ethan beside me ask with concern, "Grace, what's wrong?" I didn't bother responding to him. My first instinct was to call the police, but then Eleanor's call conveniently came through. "Grace, Eleanor just took your money. Don't worry, I'll pay you back. Chloe needs her car for work, and they're picking it up tomorrow. Eleanor booked a celebration dinner for the new car at the hotel for Sunday. Come after work then." After she finished, without waiting for my reaction, she hastily hung up. Hearing this, I suddenly realized the money I had deposited back then was placed in a short-term fund handled by an acquaintance of Eleanor's. I was busy with work, so I asked Eleanor to manage it for me. I never expected her to pull a stunt like this. Fantastic. Simply fantastic. Grace, do you need any help? Ethan, standing beside me, had naturally overheard everything. Seeing the change in my expression, he frowned in concern. But I only felt embarrassed, pushing him away slightly before saying coldly, "You can't help me. Thanks for the thought. I returned to the hotel room and collapsed onto the bed. I felt that these past few years of marriage had been an absurd joke. 600,000 yuan was enough for me to see the true nature of this family. I no longer needed to show them any courtesy. Let this be my ruthless compensation for the Xiao family. At 9 that evening, I opened my live stream promptly. After receiving 50,000 in lavish gifts last time, I'd gained many new followers, and the system had pushed me to the top of the live stream homepage. So, as soon as I started streaming this time, the viewer count soared. Soon after, Ace, the top supporter, entered the live stream. I wasn't interested in him, so I just gave a casual greeting and began looking for Mark. I quickly spotted him among my new followers, and his avatar showed he was already following me. I smiled with satisfaction and blew a kiss to the camera. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I wore a black, stunning, traditional-style dress, adorned with a feather-decorated mask. My long hair was swept up, revealing a slender, pale neck. As I moved, the dress occasionally revealed my long legs, and adding to the visual impact, I was wearing black stockings that cinched high on my thighs. Predictably, the men in the live stream instantly turned into hungry wolves, frantically sending virtual gifts and demanding I perform talents, hoping to see even more. After performing a dance with an old Shanghai vibe, I moved on to the segment everyone anticipated most, the connection game. Just as everyone expected me to choose the top supporter, I selected Mark, an account with no spending history in this live stream. Everyone grumbled, asking who he was and why I was connecting with him. To satisfy Mark's vanity, and to ensure my next task went smoothly, I said sweetly, "Let me introduce everyone, this is my new boyfriend." As soon as I said this, Mark, who was connected with me, let out a low chuckle. To be safe, he hadn't shown his face in my live stream, which only added to his mystique. Naughty girl, playing games again. Mark, I'm serious. Everyone knew we were just joking, which also freed Mark from any reservations. We sang a duet of a love song, one I often listened to in college. He completed the duet with me nonchalantly, and I subtly asked if he liked it. This is my first time hearing this song. You sing it beautifully. That's how he replied. Mark, does that mean your first time is with me? My flirting was blatant, and the viewers were clearly displeased. Some, seeing me exclusively favor Mark, even left the live stream, claiming they hated streamers who were overly affectionate. Hearing's helpless laugh, I knew he was feeling smug. I could already picture him on the other end of the phone, sporting a triumphant smile. Just then, Ace, who had been silent, suddenly made a move. He started sending virtual gifts, supreme, and it continuously flooded the screen, making it impossible to see anything else. I counted them, 24 in total, 1.2 million yuan, which meant I would receive 600,000 yuan. I froze instantly. Ace's spending habits terrified me, so I immediately closed the live stream and messaged him privately. Naughty, Ace. Are you crazy? Ace, because Grace is disobedient. Naughty, I have nothing to do with you. Ace, I already told you, I'm going to snipe you. I was speechless, even more convinced that Ace was a young guy, possibly a college student secretly using his parents' card. So I immediately said, Naughty, tell me your card number. I'll return the money to you. Ace, this amount is nothing. Consider it pocket money. As for Mark, I hate him. Don't you dare get close to him again. With that, his avatar went dark. Was he pouting and offline? I was completely exasperated, feeling like he was a little boy whose toy had been snatched away. He wouldn't say this time, but next time, I was determined to find a way to get his contact information. Today's progress was interrupted by Ace. When I looked for Mark again, his attitude had turned cold. Naughty, Mark, are you mad? Mark, no. Naughty, yes, you are. Are you jealous? You like me, don't you? Mark, I haven't even seen your real face. How can I talk about liking you? I knew it. He was a very cautious person. He was afraid I might be unattractive or a woman from a prominent family. In other words, he was a bit of a coward, unwilling to take on any responsibility. Naughty, so, do you want to meet me? I knew he wouldn't dare. But asking him directly would at least show that Naughty had no reservations. But still refused. Ultimately, my value wasn't high enough for him to risk it for me. So, I needed to step up my game. That morning, I had just arrived at the firm when I received a call from Marcus. Grace, something's happened. What is it? Chloe just picked up her new car, and right after leaving, she crashed into someone else's. And it was a luxury car. Hearing this news, I almost burst out laughing. Well, isn't there insurance? Marcus said with difficulty. Chloe was in such a hurry to pick up the car that the insurance hadn't been finalized yet. Grace, the other party is asking for 600,000 yuan. That number again. I couldn't help but think of the value of the virtual gifts they sent me yesterday. Exactly 600,000 yuan. What a coincidence. It's no use telling me. Grace's mother already took out my money. I'm completely broke now. Marcus wasn't surprised by my words. Clearly, he knew about Grace's mother secretly withdrawing the money. What was he trying to achieve by calling me now? I know. I was just hoping to ask Uncle for a favor. He specializes in handling. I cut him off before he could finish. Marcus, Chloe isn't a child anymore. She needs to take responsibility for her own actions. She used my money to buy a car, and now that something's happened, you expect my family to sort it out? Why doesn't she consider that if she hadn't been so impatient to pick up the car, none of this would have happened? So, no, I won't help. With that, I hung up. Marcus tried to call again, but I immediately blocked his number. 600,000 yuan, Marcus. Your family was never meant to enjoy that car. Now it's time to spit it back out. That entire morning, I felt refreshed because of this incident. So much so that when Eleanor called later to scold me, I actually laughed as I replied, Mom, I already paid for the Xiao family's car. Chloe is your daughter, not mine. Instead of spending your time scolding me, you should hurry up and gather the money. Otherwise, if Chloe gets arrested, that would be truly disgraceful. It wasn't until lunchtime that I realized Ethan hadn't come to work today. Since he hadn't requested leave from me, his direct superior, I gave him a call. Grace. Without realizing it, I had grown accustomed to him calling me that and didn't find anything amiss. Why didn't you come to work? Oh, I had a minor car accident this morning on my way out, but it was quickly resolved. I'll be in this afternoon. I was startled. A car accident? Are you all right? He chuckled. Thanks for your concern, Grace. I'm fine, just a minor scratch on the car. Only then did I feel relieved. After the call, Ethan added me on WhatsApp. Since we were colleagues, I didn't refuse. His profile picture was a snapshot from a snow mountain, and I could tell the handsome figure in the ski suit was him. This added another layer to my impression of him. He enjoyed high-end sports. In the afternoon, Ethan reported to work on time. Other colleagues naturally knew about his car accident and offered their concern. He responded casually, then, seeing me watching him, suddenly curved his lips into a smile. I instinctively avoided his gaze, feeling a subtle uneasiness inside that I couldn't quite place. I could only bury myself in my work. For my plan, I knew I had to go back home today, no matter what. After work, I went straight home, and Marcus's entire family was unexpectedly there. Seeing me return, Eleanor immediately rushed over, pointing her finger at me and scolding, "So you decided to come back? With such a huge mess at home, you wouldn't even lift a finger to help. How could Marcus have married such a heartless woman like you?" Eleanor had always presented a kind-faced demeanor, but I never imagined that once interests were involved, she would transform into such a spiteful shrew. I couldn't help but smile bitterly, regretting that I had been so blind to marry into such a family. Chloe, the one at fault, not only showed no shame but even spoke up on behalf of her mother. "Grace, it's just a word from you. Yet you're making our family shell out 600,000 yuan for nothing. Don't you feel you're letting my brother down by doing this?" Chloe, decked out in designer brands and elaborately dressed, stood with her arms crossed, looking entirely self-righteous, essentially blaming me for her own mistake. I sneered, too lazy to argue with her. My icy gaze fixed on Marcus, waiting to see how he would handle the situation. Marcus's face was grim. After a moment of silence, he said, "Mom, this is Chloe's own fault. You shouldn't talk to Grace like that. Chloe, sell the car tomorrow, and I'll cover the remaining amount. We need to pay the other party quickly." Chloe immediately protested, "No. I already posted it on social media. All my colleagues know I bought a car. How can I just get rid of it now? Mom! Listen to what Big Brother is saying. Eleanor, seeing him side with me, practically had fire in her eyes. She lunged forward, grabbing my collar and shaking me violently. What sin have I committed? My son gets a wife and forgets about his own mother's well-being. You're trying to drive me to my death. Just as I was about to push her away, Chloe also lunged forward. The three women were now in a full-blown brawl. Two fists couldn't contend with four hands. I was instantly pushed down, my abdomen hitting the corner of the table. The next second, a piercing pain violently struck me. All I heard was a collective gasp, then my vision went black, and I knew nothing more. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. Marcus was sitting by my bedside. Seeing me awake, he immediately stood up. Grace, you're awake. How are you? Are you uncomfortable anywhere? I closed my eyes, not wanting to see him leave. I heard Marcus say, full of self-reproach and regret, I was wrong. I didn't protect you, and I didn't protect our child, the child we finally had. My eyes snapped open, and I asked incredulously, what did you say? What child? His eyes were bloodshot, and his voice was hoarse and trembling as he said, the doctor said it was almost 3 months along, but because of the impact to your abdomen, it's gone. Gone. I immediately felt a wave of dizziness. I'd been so busy with work recently, and so entirely focused on revenge, that I hadn't even realized I was pregnant. My child, just like that, was gone. The next second, I screamed in agony. I hated them. I hated Marcus's whole family. I would use 1,000, 10,000 times their pain to mourn my child. To compensate me, Marcus ordered his mother and sister to apologize to me. They continuously repented by my bedside, especially Eleanor, whose eyes were swollen from crying. I knew no one wanted grandchildren more than she did. And yet, she and her daughter had, with their own hands, killed her grandson. What a satisfying feeling. I laughed through my tears. Marcus, heartbroken beyond measure, simply held my weakened body in his arms, repeatedly kissing my forehead and softly whispering apologies. I didn't know if the child's death had awakened his sense of responsibility as a husband, but during my hospital stay, he accompanied me every day, taking meticulous care of me. The news of my miscarriage quickly reached Grace's parents. That day, Grace's parents came to the hospital. Eleanor and Chloe, my sister-in-law, also happened to arrive. When the groups met, the scene was predictably explosive. Grace's mother had always been a driven career woman, so she immediately pointed at Eleanor and reprimanded her sharply when wanted to marry Marcus. I didn't agree. She grew up pampered. Is this the life you've made her live in your family? But she wouldn't listen, so I had no choice but to concede. Madam, what did you promise me back then? Eleanor touched her nose, both embarrassed and angry. Madam, there's a reason for this. You said you wanted our family to produce 600,000 yuan all at once. How could that be possible? Grace's uncle isn't. Stop. I understand now. Your daughter made a mistake, and you're using your status as a mother-in-law to arbitrarily assign blame to my daughter, pushing all this onto her? Let me tell you, there's no such logic in this world. Marcus, seeing the situation about to spiral out of control, quickly stepped in as a peacemaker. Mom, rest assured, I've already had Chloe mortgage the car, and the money has been returned. We won't cause Grace any more trouble, and I promise to protect her well from now on. Chloe, intimidated by Grace's mother's imposing presence, also apologized profusely. Auntie, I was wrong. I'll never treat Grace like that again. Even at this occasion, Chloe was still elaborately dressed, wearing heavy makeup that gave off a cheap, gaudy vibe. Grace's mother scrutinizingly looked her up and down before saying, I heard you passed the exam. Did you do it yourself? Eleanor, hearing this, immediately became angry. Madam, what do you mean by that? Everyone knows how outstanding Chloe is. I paused, immediately realizing what Grace's mother was implying. Chloe, perhaps recalling something, turned pale. She stammered, seemingly trying to get Grace's mother not to speak, but Grace's mother wouldn't listen to her. Looks like you still don't know? To pass the exam successfully, Chloe became the examiner's mistress. Not long ago, his wife even caused a scene at the firm, and it took a lot of money to hush it up. It's just that you yourselves were unaware. Grace's mother's words were like a thunderbolt. Eleanor looked at Chloe in disbelief, and seeing her hang her head in shame, understood the truth of the matter. You wretched girl, how could you do such a thing? Eleanor immediately slapped her across the face. The two women cried and argued, turning the hospital room into utter chaos. Marcus closed his eyes in disappointment. His tragic life had just begun. On the day I was discharged, my colleagues came to visit. Although I hadn't disclosed what illness I had, as women, they all knew, and cast me sympathetic glances. To my surprise, Ethan also came. He didn't send impractical flowers or fruit, but instead gave me a premium reservation voucher. All I had to do was scan the code and enter my address, and freshly stewed bird's nest would be delivered to my door for 3 consecutive months. I felt it was too extravagant and didn't want to accept it, but with everyone there, it was hard to keep refusing. So, I just thanked him. This time, however, he didn't smile. Instead, he said something puzzling. Grace, you've lost weight. My face was very pale, my lips devoid of color, making me look rather haggard. Being told this by him made me feel a bit awkward. Fortunately, Marcus arrived, and my colleagues soon left. He watched Ethan's retreating back and asked me with displeasure, "Since when did you have a male colleague?" I lay back down, too lazy to engage with him. He had become much more attentive to me since this incident. Seeing me remain silent, he didn't dare question me directly but instead said indirectly, "He looks like a trust fund kid. Those types are the best at playing women." I turned my back to him, a sarcastic curve forming on my lips. I thought, you're a penniless nobody. And don't you also like playing women? And you even pretend to be rich to do it. Marcus, your vanity and jealousy are deeper than any woman's. I had been hospitalized during this period, so I hadn't logged into my account. Now, discharged and recuperating at home, after many days, I logged back into the naughty account. My private messages were practically exploding, the screen full of red dots. I didn't read a single one, clearing them all immediately. I instinctively checked my friends list. I had added 2 people, Mark and Ace. Mark was offline at the moment, but Ace was my top supporter, so he would receive a notification as soon as I logged on. Less than a minute later, he was online too. And as soon as he logged on, he sent me a message. "Ace, why haven't you been online recently?" "Naughty, I've been sick." The house was cold and empty. The loss of my child had plunged my spirits to rock bottom. At this moment, chatting with him, I felt no resistance at all. "Ace, didn't your husband take good care of you?" Hearing him say that, I immediately grew alert, thinking he knew me. "Naughty, who told you that? Why would you say that?" While I was wildly speculating, he seemed unconcerned. "Ace, dummy, I saw the ring mark on your hand." I was startled. Yes, every time I live streamed or filmed a dance video, I would take off my wedding ring. And the videos had a certain beauty filter effect, so it usually wouldn't be noticeable. I hadn't expected him to be so observant. Naughty, indeed. That's why I asked for your card number so I could return the money to you. I wasn't trying to trick you. Strangely, I actually believed that even if Ace knew I was a married woman, he wouldn't reveal it. I trusted him completely. Ace, no. I'll wait for you to get a divorce. Ace, naughty. I'm going to pursue you. Naughty, impossible. I sent those 3 words and hastily went offline. His words had genuinely startled me. Although I didn't know if he was serious or just joking, I had decided to ignore him. Divorce was my goal, but I wouldn't do anything to betray my partner within the marriage, unlike Marcus. It seemed I needed to speed things up, or this account would become a ticking time bomb. I used a burner WhatsApp account to add Marcus. He had been much more restrained recently, and I was nervous if he would accept, but to my surprise, he accepted my friend request the very next second. Ha, a dog truly can't change its spots. Naughty, Mark, surprised, aren't you? How did you get my WhatsApp ID? Naughty, did you forget? You left me a Skype ID, and WhatsApp can search for it too. This move probably startled him a bit. He was very wary of me. Most of the time, I was the one asking questions, and though he only replied with 1 or 2 words, he responded to every message. He didn't want to let go of this fish. I had made many arrangements for this burner account beforehand. The daily posts were all about luxury goods and travel, photoshopped, of course, but so meticulously done that he couldn't tell they were fake. I also included location tags, creating the image of a wealthy socialite globetrotting around the world. I even sent him cash gifts occasionally, sometimes 5,000, sometimes 10,000, completely unconcerned by the amount. This made him marvel at my extravagant lifestyle several times. Half a month passed like this. He had learned to greet me proactively and share details of his daily life, always maintaining the image of a sophisticated gentleman in his messages. After I returned to work, I spent my days at the firm chatting with him on my burner account, and at night, we were a married couple sharing a bed but drifting in different dreams. Yes, we hadn't had marital intimacy for a long time. I knew he must be feeling incredibly frustrated, and the more so, the closer I was to achieving my desired outcome. At noon, I found a secluded corner in the restaurant and took a photo, which I sent to Marcus. From that angle, it was impossible to tell it was a firm meal. Besides, he had never cared what the firm's meals looked like anyway. Naughty photo, Mark, my dad's company food is so bad. Heh, why don't you suggest something to your dad? He'll definitely listen to his little princess. Naughty, he's an old-fashioned stick in the mud. Today he even forced me to go on a blind date. This time, Marcus must have been a bit anxious, because he knew that if I went on a blind date, I might lose interest in him. After all, I had already transferred tens of thousands to him, and he wouldn't want to miss out on such a good thing. So, I decided to provoke him further. Naughty, Mark, do you like me? If you like me, I won't go on the blind date. If you don't like me, I won't be able to chat with you anymore. The image of the wealthy socialite I created wasn't simply that of a lovesick fool. This way, Marcus would feel a sense of crisis. He was silent for a moment, then replied, "Like you." Seeing those two words, I finally felt a sense of closure, as if all my burdens were about to be lifted. Naughty, then let's meet. I can't wait to be with you. Okay. Just as the corners of my mouth involuntarily turned up, Ethan sat down across from me, carrying his tray. Grace, why haven't you eaten? Is it not to your liking? He looked at the cold meal in front of me, his deep, profound eyes silently fixed on me. Ethan had a new haircut, which made his facial contours appear even sharper and more chiseled. Coupled with his striking features, he attracted the attention of many female colleagues, and sitting next to him, I felt a certain pressure. Eat slowly, I'll be leaving first. Just as I was about to stand up, he gave a faint smile. What? Are you scared of me? No, I just don't want people to gossip. Seeing my eyes dart away, Ethan leaned closer, his voice laced with a tempting charm. What gossip? Gossip that I'm interested in you, My ears immediately felt hot. In reality, I had little dating experience. When I pursued Marcus, I merely showed him warmth and concern. I had never encountered a situation like this. I was instantly at a loss for how to respond to him and could only fob him off. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm married. Don't joke around with me. After saying that, I didn't dare stay any longer, fearing he might say something shocking. I stood up to leave, but to my surprise, he uttered a sentence that left me stunned on the spot. I'm not joking, Grace. You'll know soon enough. Ignoring the glances of those around me, I hurried away. For the next few days, I tried my best to avoid eye contact with him. However, after that incident, he seemed to have forgotten about it, and didn't say anything strange again. This allowed me to calmly proceed with the second-to-last step of my plan. I created another burner account and added Mia on WhatsApp. Yes, Mia. I approached her as a micro-business owner, convincing her that I wanted her to do product advertisements. Of course, she didn't know my true identity, nor that I was naughty. Before long, we were calling each other sisters. That day, I subtly informed her. Chio, Mia, I think I know the top supporter in your live stream. Mia, Are you talking about Mark? How do you know him? Chio, yes, Mark. His name is exactly the same as a wealthy businessman in our local area, and when I heard his voice connecting with you, it was indistinguishable from his appearances on TV. So it must be him. After saying that, I sent a picture. Of course, it was prepared beforehand. Given its intelligence, she wouldn't bother to search for it, So she immediately exclaimed excitedly, Mia, what incredible luck have I stumbled upon. Mark is handsome, and he's rich too. Little, thank you. What city are you in? I curved my lips into a smile and sent her the city we were in. I was sure Mia wouldn't pass up this opportunity to turn her life around. However, to prevent her from making a foolish mistake and giving herself away, I reminded her, Mia, as your good friend, I need to remind you that a wealthy man like Mark definitely won't like a gold digger. So you absolutely must not reveal that you know his identity. Mia, right. You're so smart. So what should I do? That day, Marcus sent a message to my burner account. I slipped into the restroom and calmly opened it. Naughty, let's meet. At that moment, scenes of my time with him flashed through my mind, from acquaintance to courtship, then to disappointment and disgust. My first half of life felt like a movie, and now, I was going to bring that movie to an end with my own hands. Naughty, okay. I've booked the presidential suite, on the top floor of the hotel. Mark, I'm going to give myself to you. I opened the restroom door a crack and quietly peeked into the living room. Marcus was sitting on the sofa, ecstatically looking at his phone, his chest heaving. He was probably already imagining the passionate scene after they met. I subtly came up beside him. He quickly reacted, locking his phone screen. Grace, I cut some fruit for you. Eat up. Marcus had recently transformed into a top-tier devoted family man. He wouldn't let me touch any household chores, and Eleanor would bring fruit every few days. I even wondered what my future life would be like if none of this had ever happened. Alas, there were no ifs. My dark eyes gazed at him earnestly. Marcus, let's go out this Saturday, to the park where we had our first date. Marcus paused, then smiled, just as noble and refined as when I first met him. But regrettably, this was his reply, Grace, I really want to say yes, but I have to work overtime this Saturday. How about Sunday? I promise I'll spend Sunday with you, and then we can go to the movies. Something just came out, he kept talking, but I couldn't hear another word. Marcus, I gave you one last chance. You gave it up, so don't blame me now. Saturday arrived as planned. Marcus was dressed very handsomely that day and had even put on some cologne. I saw it but pretended not to notice, smiling instead. Marcus, I wish you good luck. He didn't detect anything amiss and left. The moment the door closed, I logged into my burner account and sent the room number to Mia. Room 9999. Mark will be resting here after his meeting today. Mia, I'm only revealing this to you, but are you really going to come? Did you make plans with him? Mia, I want to give him a surprise. You know, Mark has feelings for me, otherwise he wouldn't only send virtual gifts to me. He's just playing hard to get. That's good. But what if he gets angry when he sees you and tells you to leave? Mia, photo, I don't believe he won't be tempted. In the photo, Mia was wearing a very sexy set of intimates. Don't forget, Mia's good figure was evident to all. So, would Marcus, who had been suppressing his desires for so many days, refuse such an offering of temptation? In fact, I had booked that suite long ago and installed a very discreet camera. I wanted not just written evidence, but undeniable video proof. Then, I sat in the living room and turned on the room's surveillance video. At this point, Marcus had already arrived at the room. He seemed a bit nervous, constantly adjusting his clothes and hair, even practicing his self-introduction. Watching him act like a young, inexperienced man falling in love for the first time, my eyes filled with sarcasm and malice. 2 hours passed. Marcus gradually frowned. He sent me a message on WhatsApp. Naughty, have you arrived? I replied, word for word, what? Can't even wait this long? He didn't detect the shift in my tone. I'm worried about you. I can wait. I didn't reply. In the video, he looked a bit disappointed, but quickly composed himself. Meanwhile, I sent another message to Mia. Mia, where are you now? Do you need me to pick you up? I know a newly opened restaurant with excellent food. Mia, I'll be there soon, but I want to see Mark first. Good sister. I'll treat you to dinner tomorrow. I smiled, deleted her WhatsApp ID, and then deactivated the Chill WhatsApp account. Before I knew it, the morning was over. I ordered takeout and ate it on the sofa, while in the video, Marcus's expression, gradually turned sour. He sent me another WhatsApp message. "Naughty, why haven't you arrived yet?" I leisurely finished my lunch before replying to him. "Naughty, just messing with you. Did you actually take it seriously?" His face instantly turned ashen. "What do you mean?" "Naughty, give you a little money and you wag your tail at me. What's the difference between you and a dog?" The next second, I saw Marcus frantically tapping something on his phone in the video. I guessed he must have deleted me in a fit of rage. Given his cowardly nature, booking a room was already his limit, let alone trying to expose me. He violently threw the pillow from the bed onto the floor. Just as he was about to continue his outburst, there was a knock at the door. I immediately sat up straight. It was time to reel in the net. Marcus composed himself for a moment. After tidying the bed, he opened the door. The next instant, a girl lunged into his arms. I clearly saw his expression change from stunned to surprised, then to alarm. He quickly pushed Mia away, but she clung to him tightly. After the door closed, they tumbled onto the bed in a struggle. I saw Mia stroking his face and saying something, then took off her jacket. Marcus's expression gradually relaxed, and his eyes became deep and excited. Mia's tactics were naturally effective, and she quickly aroused Marcus's desire. I didn't want to watch the subsequent scenes. After turning off the surveillance, I looked at our home, where I had lived for so long, and at the wedding photo on the wall, smiling tenderly. I laughed silently. My plan had finally succeeded. That night, Marcus didn't return. I didn't call to ask where he went. Subtly, it felt as though both of us knew something was beyond repair. The evidence of Marcus's infidelity was fully prepared, and the divorce papers were printed and signed with my name. Divorce was only a matter of time. Before that, there was something else I needed to get back. Monday was Eleanor's birthday. No, I couldn't call her Eleanor anymore. For now, I just referred to her as Marcus's mother. She had booked several tables at the best hotel in the area. That woman, who claimed to have no money, had suddenly spent tens of thousands. I was considerate. To avoid Marcus's embarrassment, I went back to my parents' place for the weekend and told Grace's parents about my plans for divorce. They didn't scold me. Instead, they marveled that I had finally come to my senses. It turned out they had long seen that Marcus was not the right man for me. Only I had been blinded by my own feelings. I wore a bright red dress and light makeup. All my colleagues complimented my beauty. While I was in the break room, Ethan followed me. Grace. He called me directly by my name. He was as handsome as ever today, but his gaze was even more intense. I couldn't reconcile him with the Ethan I first met. "What are you doing?" He pinned me against the break room counter, looking down at me. "After today, you'll be a free woman." "What do you know?" I met his gaze, unaware that our proximity was such that I could hear his breathing. "I've always known, naughty." My eyes involuntarily widened. The lingering mystery that had felt strange suddenly became clear at that moment. It had been so obvious, yet I was only just realizing now. Ethan was ace. He looked at my bewildered expression, couldn't resist cupping my face, and then said softly, "I've been waiting for this day for a long time." What did he mean? What was he talking about? I pushed him away, looking at him warily and saying, "I don't know what your intentions are. I'll return your money as soon as possible, and I hope you won't disrupt my life anymore." Just as I was about to open the door and leave, Ethan called up from behind me, "Grace, do you really not remember me? Senior?" That familiar address immediately pulled me back to my high school years. Back then, I was the student council president in my senior year, and many people called me that. But I genuinely couldn't recall anyone named Ethan. "It seems you've forgotten the person you pulled back from the edge of the rooftop." I whipped my head around, finally remembering, but that person's name was Ethan. I changed my name. I took my father's surname. The day you saved me was the day my mother passed away. My world was a blank canvas of gray and white, and you were the only splash of color in my life. How melodramatic! So had been following me since then. Unfortunately, I was already a senior, and he was just a freshman. After I graduated, his father found him and sent him abroad. By the time he returned, I was already married. And then, he joined the same firm as me. Do you think saying that will move me? I looked at him expressionlessly, and he silently shook his head. I don't want your pity. I'm confident I can make you fall in love with me. I just want you to truly see me, the me who has always been by your side. I scoffed, ignoring him. Marcus was right about one thing: trust fund kids like him are experts at playing games with women, especially with a sophisticated, deeply devoted persona. As for me, I wouldn't fall for it again. I wouldn't get entangled in another dangerous relationship. The hotel lobby was bustling. When I arrived, Marcus was already waiting for me at the entrance. A flicker of surprise and admiration crossed his eyes when he saw me, all dressed up. He moved to take my hand, but I subtly evaded his grasp. He seemed to recall something, his expression dimming with a hint of melancholy. He merely murmured, "Grace, everyone's here. Let's go in." I walked straight inside. Inside the banquet hall, Marcus's family was already eating, while Eleanor was busy circulating among the relatives, too preoccupied to even notice me. Halfway through the meal, Eleanor finally turned to me and said, "Grace, do you know about the new apartment complex that just opened next to the hotel?" "I don't," I told her truthfully. She immediately perked up. "It's called Autumn's Haven. Doesn't that sound like destiny for you?" I scoffed, knowing she was up to something again. I looked at Marcus, and this time, he volunteered, "Grace, the amenities where we live now aren't great. This new complex is in a good location, with 4 bedrooms and 2 living areas. It's also a good school district home. After we have a child, my mother can move in to help take care of them." Marcus's voice trailed off, his face likely burning with embarrassment. But his mother, annoyed he hadn't finished, chimed in herself, "There are 4 bedrooms. Grace, if you get pregnant, we can have Chloe move in, and she can handle all the housework. Wouldn't it be wonderful for us all to be together as a family?" The family chimed in with agreement. "Exactly, Grace, you're so lucky. You found our Marcus, and his mother and sister-in-law are both kind. What incredible fortune." Suppressing my anger, I asked, "Haha, if you want to buy a house, where's the money?" Eleanor immediately chuckled and said, "Well, we were hoping you'd sell your current place for the down payment. Don't worry, Marcus will handle the mortgage payment later, so you can just relax and enjoy." So, they wanted my premarital assets to become marital assets? The family was always so clever, I couldn't help but feel a twisted admiration. Then, all 3 of them would move in, live happily ever after, and I'd serve them after having a child? They expected me to just give in, pressured in front of everyone? In your dreams. The 2 words instantly silenced the entire room. Everyone stared at me in disbelief, astonished that I would say such a thing. Eleanor even clutched her chest, feigning pain, and gasped, "You. What did you say?" I stood up, slowly scanning the crowd, then fixed my gaze on Marcus's face, stating each word clearly, "Marcus, I said your family is dreaming. Today, I'm telling you, I want a divorce. I've prepared all the documents, and we'll go to the county's office tomorrow to finalize it." Marcus must have hated his mother at that moment, too. Not only did she not help persuade me, but she added fuel to the fire. As for me, an eerie calm settled over me. I took the stack of documents from my bag and spread them on the table. Then, I pulled out a USB drive from my bag and announced loudly, "You want me to pay you? First, take a look at what your son has been up to. Eleanor, I'm still showing you respect by calling you auntie right now. Return my $600,000 promptly, or I'll send proof of Marcus's infidelity to his firm. I imagine you wouldn't want your son to lose such a good job, would you?" The entire room erupted in murmurs. Everyone stared at Marcus in disbelief, his own face alternating between green and white. He quickly flipped through the chat logs, then looked at me as if he'd seen a ghost, demanding, "How do you have these?" I didn't bother to argue with him further. But to prevent him from pestering me endlessly, I walked over to him and said blandly, "Marcus, I gave you many chances. You chose to leap into this abyss yourself. From the moment you became Mark, no one could save you." With that, I left the hotel without a backward glance. Time flew by. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Marcus and I were divorced. His mother returned the $600,000 to me in full. Unexpectedly, Marcus also gave me $200,000, claiming it was compensation for all these years. I didn't decline it, I accepted it directly. Later, though, I heard he lost his job, Chloe married and then divorced a second time, and his mother contracted some illness. I simply smiled at these rumors, my heart was no longer stirred. The account Agio was deleted by me, and those absurd memories vanished with it. I sold my old house and bought a loft apartment closer to the firm. I got a golden. The divorce didn't bring me pain, instead, it made me reevaluate my life. I never realized how easy and comfortable life could be on my own. But that was only until someone else appeared. It was deep into the night. I opened my door to find Ethan outside, his face flushed, his deep eyes hazy with intoxication. The moment he swayed and began to fall, I instinctively reached out to steady him. He took the opportunity to embrace me tightly, refusing to let go. With no other choice, I helped him into my home. I deposited him on the sofa. Just as I was about to stand, he pulled me back into his arms. His hot breath brushed against my cheek, making me instinctively resist. Unexpectedly, he suddenly spoke, his voice tinged with grievance and a hint of a sob. "Grace, I truly love you. I've always been right behind you. Why won't you just turn around and look at me?" "Ethan, you're drunk." He suddenly grabbed my shoulders, his eyes bloodshot. "I'm not drunk. What is it about me that's so bad? Just tell me, and I'll change, won't I? Please, just give me one chance, okay?" Under the soft light, he humbled himself completely, his expression fragile and sorrowful, like a discarded puppy, stirring a pang of pity in my heart. I couldn't bring myself to say anything else that would hurt him, nor could I give him the answer he wanted. "Ethan, I've just ended a relationship, a marriage. I can't invest myself in another relationship with no clear future." Tears welled in the corners of his eyes as he murmured, "What do you mean, no clear future? The moment I first saw you, I already planned our future. I worked hard to change myself, to appear before you at my best. I'm ready. I can show you the future I've built for you anytime." I stared at him blankly, saying nothing. He slowly leaned closer, pressing his forehead against mine, pleading, "Grace, I'm not Marcus. My life belongs to you. I won't fall in love with anyone else but you. I only love you, and I'm devoted only to you." My heart trembled slightly. He cupped my face in his hands, our gazes intertwining. This time, I didn't resist. He gently kissed me. Perhaps I could trust again? Meanwhile, a text message popped up on Ethan's phone. "Mia, boss. Congratulations in advance to you and the boss's wife on your wedding. I almost sacrificed myself to complete this task. Could you please send me my promised year-end bonus early?" When faced with something like this, would you choose forgiveness or retaliation? Let me know your answer in the comments. Backhand index pointing down, subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue in the next episode.